in seconds. KARK 4 News, now in high definition. Sponsored by your Central Arkansas Ford dealers. Now, your forecast first from KARK 4, your weather authority.
Hotter than it has been in weeks. Arkansas got a bit of a reality check today, and it's only going to get hotter tomorrow. In the meantime, temperatures dropping to around 80 by 7 p.m. 7 a.m. temperatures in the lower 60s, and highs tomorrow could once again be in the 90s. But when is that cool down on the way? We'll tell you about that coming up. Your KARK 4 News at 6 starts now.
Coming up, North Little Rock police investigate a rape on a high school campus. We're live with the developing story.
Hopefully I get it cleaned up soon.
Why the cost of meth cleanup is straining the budgets of law enforcement, leaving dangerous materials lying around. Plus, only 9 out of 51 college students graduate on time. How Arkansas colleges are working to get more students in the cap and gown.
Now, from the station you count on. In-depth investigative coverage of today's biggest stories. This is KARK 4 News at 6 in high definition.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Bob Clausen.
And I'm Jessica Dean. A disturbing story out of North Little Rock tonight. A North Little Rock high school student arrested and charged with rape, accused of sexually assaulting another student on campus.
KARK4's Brittany Johnson has been following this story throughout the afternoon. She is joining us now live with the very latest on this evolving story, even at this hour. Brittany, what do we know?
Well, certainly, both North Little Rock Police and North Little Rock School District officials tell us this is a very isolated incident. People who've been here for nearly 20 years say they've never seen anything like this, but they are still taking it very, very seriously. From the beginning, this morning around 10 o'clock, a school resource officer, a police officer stationed here at the West Campus, was called to investigate a sexual assault of an 18-year-old female student. During their interview and after that, he was able to go out, look for the suspect, a 17-year-old, also a student here at the same campus. His name is DeAndre Womack. They went to find him in class, but he wasn't in the class he was assigned to. They say they did find him outside of campus, but nearby. They were able to take him in, arrest him, and charge him with rape. Police do tell us that they had enough probable cause to charge him as an adult with this crime.
It breaks my heart to see this happen, and at the same time, it makes me think, okay, my daughter's getting to the age where she's going to be in high school soon. How can something like this happen? But this is sometimes a terrible world. Terrible things happen.
Like Lieutenant Kirkendall said, the entire community is pretty disturbed by this incident. We're being told that Womack is being held without bond. And while this is a North Little Rock police investigation, the school district says that depending on what happens, he could be suspended or expelled, but the investigation is still ongoing. Sheriff Brazier, a spokesperson for the district, tells us she's been here for 18 years. She's never seen anything like this. We also spoke with students who are very concerned. They're shocked by this. We'll have more of their reactions at the 10 o'clock show tonight. Live from North Little Rock's High School's West Campus, Brittany Johnson, KARK 4 News.
All right, thanks, Brittany. A meth lab, not something you want in your neighborhood. Once it's discovered, you want to get it out as quickly as possible, right? Well, cleaning up the mess from those labs, now a much bigger problem for local communities. In depth tonight, KARK4's Lauren Traeger examines how you could end up paying for this problem in more ways than one. Lauren.
Well, of course, we know that meth production has been a problem in this state for so many years. Police tell us, though, that some of those big meth labs, they're actually kind of going away. We're not seeing as many of those big ones. We're seeing the smaller, what's called a one-pot or shake-and-bake method style of cooking meth. But they can still be extremely dangerous and extremely costly to clean up.
There was, a lot of smoke coming out of the chimney stack there, and it didn't look like normal smoke.
Anthony Jett says he was shocked to discover a meth lab bust next door to his bike shop in North Little Rock. That was April. Months later, the site still hasn't been cleaned up. Now it's just one of hundreds on a website of meth-contaminated properties around the state.
I think somebody should come clean it up if the landowners aren't going to take care of it. I think maybe the state should help.
But right now, help is nowhere to be found. Earlier this year, after budget cuts, the feds stopped the flow of hundreds of thousands of dollars to Arkansas's communities, used to hire contractors who then safely dispose of the meth lab materials. Now, though,
if it's in the city limits or something like that, then that cost would fall on the city.
Lonoke County Sheriff's Deputy Lieutenant James Kalesa says each cleanup could cost upwards of $20,000. In a tough economy, some communities could be hard-pressed to pay.
I think something needs to be done. Something needs to be worked out.
Cleaning is key. Experts say the dangerous chemicals used to cook meth can leach into walls, carpeting, even drinking water, causing health hazards for years, if not decontaminated. That's why Lieutenant Kalesa says even in this pinch, their drug war won't end.
We'll deal with the cost. The first thing is, though, to protect the public.
But Jet says for the health and safety of his customers, a funding solution must be found, and soon.
I definitely don't want to be known to be next to a meth lab.
Now, the state police is devising a plan to try and combat this problem. They're proposing 7 centers or pods where local law enforcement agencies could bring their hazardous waste, and the idea there is to have it disposed of in bulk, and that could save money. Now, state police, though, wasn't available today to talk in depth about that plan, and there are already some people who are speaking out critical of it, saying that plan could have major flaws. Back to you.
All right, Lauren, thanks very much. Tonight, 2 men, the first to be sentenced under a hate crime law for harassing a group of Hispanic men and running their car off the road. Today, a judge sentenced Frankie Mabee to 11 years. Sean Popejoy was sentenced to 4 on Tuesday. The car they ran off the road burst into flames, injuring everyone inside. The 2 were sentenced under the Matthew Shepard James Byrd Hate Crimes Act. The Shepard-Byrd Act is named after Matthew Shepard, who was attacked and tortured and killed because he was gay. James Byrd was dragged behind a pickup truck until he died because he was a black man.
Lawmakers still butting heads over health care, and the state could lose out on millions of dollars. Friday is the deadline to apply for a grant to create the state health care exchange. It's mandated by federal law, but Arkansas Republicans don't want that money. In a letter to the insurance commissioner, House Minority Leader John Burris says there's a lot of unresolved issues surrounding that health care law, and instead of spending taxpayer money, they want Arkansas to wait. A spokesman for Governor Mike Beebe says the governor is not getting involved.
He's just strictly said on this issue, he's going to go along with whatever the legislature decides is best. They've all been elected by the people of Arkansas, just like the governor had.
The health care debate, of course, playing out on the national stage as well. The 11th Circuit Court of Appeals recently declared the health care law unconstitutional, but the Justice Department is asking the Supreme Court to hear that case.
Bringing a healthy lifestyle to Little Rock and beyond was the focus of the 2011 Little Rock Healthy Food and Active Living Summit today. It was a full day of discussions on topics like childhood obesity and access to healthy food. The goal of the 2-day event is to find ways to take action to create healthier lifestyles for both children as well as adults.
Sometimes I think we're talking to the choir, speaking to the choir, and we need to find a way to get this kind of information to local communities, local community leaders, so there's more than just the experts and the professionals that are learning about it.
The summit continues through tomorrow when the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Kathleen Sebelius, will address the group.
A lot of parents dream of their kids walking across the stage and grabbing that college diploma. But a new report shows it's only going to happen for a third of students who set foot on a college campus. Tonight, KARK4's Bakari Savage has this story.
I'd like to say all of my friends, because I think all of my friends are capable of doing it, but I don't know.
The stats are out, and UALR freshman Ashley Calabata may not be happy to know that all of her friends may not graduate at the same time, if at all. A report by Complete College America looks at the state as a whole. Say you take 51 students entering a 4-year university. Only 36 return for their sophomore year. 9 will graduate on time. It'll take 6 years for 11 of them and 8 years for 2. And only 22 will take the walk across the stage. UALR junior Will Deering has already seen it.
I've got one friend who dropped out here, I think because simply he just couldn't afford it. And he just, I guess he cracked under the pressure maybe.
Now the Winthrop Rockefeller Foundation is saying schools need more pressure to make sure students graduate.
But the thing is that we know what needs to be done. We absolutely know what needs to be done. And higher
What's
ed,
the problem?
Well, the problem is not wanting to make change. The problem is not taking risks.
The foundation's Sharice West says colleges need a new approach, new people, and a new way of doing things. At UALR, several new programs have been started to help students. One is to get them paired up with professors just to check in and build a relationship.
I think these things they're going to have an impact. It's not going to turn around overnight, and the changes aren't going to be, precipitous. We're not going to see things double in a year or anything like that.
UALR freshman Shakaris Boyd isn't waiting for the changes. She's looking within to make it to graduation.
I got to know for myself that I can do it and have faith in God and myself that I can do it and study hard and build my confidence up.
Today, the state just got almost $15 million to help with graduation rates at two-year colleges. The idea is that you help students make it through a two-year program, and they're going to go on to a four-year college and earn a degree there as well, increasing our numbers all around.
All right, thanks, Bakari. Still ahead tonight, the drive to Cowboy Stadium for the Razorback versus Texas A&M game might be easier than heading back home.
We'll explain the Razorback traffic troubles next.
That we will. And not only that, coming up in sports, we'll fill you in on that game, keys to that game in Arlington, including one major area in need of improvement, protecting their quarterback Tyler Wilson. But as the coaching staff explains, that doesn't all fall on the offensive line. It's coming up in tonight's Razorback Nation report.
And if today was warm, what's tomorrow going to be like? Downright hot. Take a look at the almanac this afternoon. 87 degrees are high, warmer than it has been in 2 weeks. Well, tomorrow, you can expect that temperature to go up. We'll tell you about that. Stay with us.